Hello and welcome to IAS Origin. In this video, we will discuss about how to read newspaper. आपने काफ़ी सारे वीडियोस देखे होंगे जिसमें न्यूज़पेपर कैसे पढ़ना है, क्या आर्टिकल्स इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, वो सारी चीज़ें कवर की जाती हैं. इस वीडियो में हम एक स्पेशल चीज़ कवर करेंगे कि हाउ टू रीड द न्यूज़पेपर इन 90 मिनट्स विथ नोट्स मेकिंग. तो इसको कैसे करना है, ये जो वीडियो है विल बी इन इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी मिक्स ताकि सभी लोग सुन सकें. सबसे पहली चीज़ है, जो भी न्यूज़पेपर आप पिक करो, यहाँ पर मैंने इंडियन एक्सप्रेस पिक किया है क्योंकि जनरली इंडियन एक्सप्रेस अभी यूपीएससी के पेपर से पूरा अलाइंड हो रहा है. जो यूपीएससी डिमांड करता है उस हिसाब से ये पेपर बेस्ट है. द हिंदू भी आप पढ़ सकते हैं और कोई अदर न्यूज़पेपर भी है तो वो भी आप कमेंट सेक्शन में मुझे बता सकते हैं कि मैं ये न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ रहा हूँ, तो ये न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने के लिए मुझे सही है, गलत है, क्या और चेंज करना चाहिए, ये सारी चीज़ें मैं आपको कमेंट सेक्शन में बता दूँगा. But this video we will make what exactly you need to read in the newspaper, what exactly you need to leave in the newspaper. Generally people think whatever is written in the newspaper we have to study. Obviously I understand that there's a syllabus, there's PYQs, and in PYQs if you see and the syllabus, according to that you have to pick the news. Generally people waste time in picking wrong news and reading that news, making notes of that, which is not very useful for the examination. So in this video we will discuss what exactly you need to do in the newspaper. So before moving to the newspaper, we will discuss first few things. Okay, number one is front page. Okay, front page is very important, but how much time you should invest there, I'll let you know. Second is we have editorial page. Okay, then we have national, then we have business or economy, and then we have international. Now here these are the like major crux of the newspaper, and last we can say sports and some state related pages. If you are reading a newspaper of Delhi, then Delhi will be there. If you are reading some other state related, then you will get. Here the most important thing is what exactly you need to do in these newspaper. Number one, this is the most important page of the newspaper. Second most important page is business and economics. Sports you can easily leave. And remaining, this is like front page. So this is not very important, but this is important to understand the timeline. National generally covered with politics, and international generally covered without India's reference. Majority time the news is related to India, but majority time it is not. So this is how you have to understand. Now if I talk about here that when we read a newspaper, generally we need to spend time on certain important news. Like for example, this is the first page. In the first page, हमको ये समझना है कि ये एक commentary है. It's like you're watching a cricket match. In that cricket match, suppose we have first over to 50th over. This is one day international. From first over to 50th over, if you're watching a live match, you will understand each and everything. Like how many wickets, how many runs, who scored century, who took 5 wickets, etc. etc. But after finishing the 50 over, you see highlights. That highlight is a front page. So you don't have to watch the full match of cricket, but you have to see highlights here. I'll tell you what. For example, this is the news, very important, today's newspaper only. So you can see 8th January. GDP, first half slump weighs in on full year growth. Growth estimate at 4-year low of 6.4% on weak manufacturing and investment. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ कि जो ग्रोथ एस्टिमेट है वो 4 साल के लो पे है. दो कारण है उसके. कौन से? मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट. These are the two reasons. So this is the first news. Now if you know the syllabus, if you have seen my previous videos, I told you why syllabus and PYQs are important. So if you see the syllabus, you will understand that this news is important for me for my examination or not. So here if you see, this is the news related to GS paper 3 economy. This is the news important for prelims as well. But do you think the data given in that is important? Yes. The answer is this is the data which is important to remember. But what are these things? These are estimates only. Only estimates. इसका मतलब एक्चुअल फिगर नहीं है. एक्चुअल फिगर जब आएगा इकोनॉमिक सर्वे बजट और उसके बाद रिवाइज फिगर्स आएंगे तब हमको इंपॉर्टेंट है. ओके. फिर छोटे से बॉक्स में लिखा है वाई ग्रोथ इज डाउन. कंजम्पशन एंड आगे की चीजें इसमें लिखी हुई हैं. ग्रोथ ओवर ईयर्स, तो आपको एक ट्रेंड दिख रहा है यहाँ पर. ये आप देख सकते हैं माइनस में क्योंकि कोविड का असर दिखा था यहाँ. फिर कोविड का जब इकोनॉमी खुली तो ग्रोथ बहुत स्पीड में बढ़ी, बट उसके बाद से ये नीचे ही जा रही है. तो ये न्यूज हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसको पढ़ना है, तो इस पे मैंने टिक लगा दिया. ठीक है. अगली न्यूज देखते हैं. अगली न्यूज है दिल्ली वोट्स ऑन 5th Feb. EC will ask government to ensure budget for this. अब इलेक्शन रिलेटेड न्यूज है, हमारे एग्जाम से कोई काम की नहीं है, बट हमारे एग्जाम में क्या काम का है. व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट इन दिस न्यूज इज दैट दिस न्यूज इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर कॉन्सेप्ट. व्हाट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट? So I'll just make some space here. Why this is important? Because this is related to Election Commission of India. So this is the news related to a body, constitutional body mentioned in GS paper 2, Polity Governance IR. So here you can see that this news is not important, but the body mentioned inside it, ECI, every year there are elections in India, so this is important. Okay. Next, government clears memorial to Pranav, not important. PM Modi something, not important, because it's a commentary. Someday this will happen, next day another thing will happen. Like today they have announced the date, next day they will announce certain things, then election will happen on 5th February, then result will come on 8th February or something like that. So you will get the crux at the end of the Feb. So instead of watching a full match, like I told you, you just see the result. Now here behind test route. So again, sports news, not important. I'm sure Collegium will take action to deal with Justice Yadav issues. So here, Collegium system, important for our judiciary portion in GS paper 2. And these things related to Indian judiciary, High Court, Supreme Court. So again, this topic per se is not important, but the theme mentioned, the collegium system, judiciary, is in the news, so it is important. Here ISRO to bark, agencies pitch in the big cleanup at Mahakumbh. So here the news may not be very important, but the body is mentioned. What is ISRO? What exactly they do? What is bark? What exactly they do? What is their contribution, etc., etc. So this is a front page where you can spend only like 5 minutes maximum. In the second part, there's an advertisement, so can leave easily. Now we have second page. Second page is sometimes carried forward from first page. So here you can say again growth estimate. So you can read this full space, the editorial, what people said, what's the reason. But there's a lot of data given inside it. The data of each and every minute things are not very important. It's just the GDP figures that we need to see. The actual figures we need to remember for the examination. Okay. And then we have, you can see Delhi votes on 5th Feb. So it's like continuation of the previous page. Then we have city pages. So here you will find on top city pages. So no need to read because you're not giving exam for Delhi. Again, you can leave this page. Then again, this is a city page, easily leave. Then again, this is decision 2025. So it is again assembly election related page. So no need to read this page again because these are all political news, will fade away after the election or before your examination. Then we have government and politics. So again, this is again not very important. You can easily leave this because if there's an important news, something like that, like for example, Supreme Court said there should be periodic legislative review to find out if a law has worked well or not. So this is a decent news, judicial delays and everything. But if this news is important, this will surely come in editorial section. Okay. And then we have again the continuation of that. Then we have Express Network. So you can easily leave this page as well. No need to read this page. Then comes to the most important, where you have to invest like almost majority of the time. This is the editorial page. Now just see what are the important newses. Let's trust our university. So this is related to education. UGC draft regulation of 2025, selection of VCs. Again, this news looks important, but it's not very important. It is written NEP and a new education policy. Again, there are certain regulations talking about VCs, vice chancellor. So it's related to the news of education, the university regulation, which is what I can see from top once I will read it. So suppose, for example, you are not able to identify the news from here, you identify by reading from here. Okay, so the government plays crucial role on this. So again, not very important per se in terms of the UPSC examination, but yes, how our universities are being regulated for mains examination, this can be an important topic. So I will say that you have to read this editorial. Then again, GDP growth rate, growth pangs. So again, you can see, as I told you, whatever is on the front page, if it is important, that will be converted into an editorial section. So here, this is important. So again, you have to read this. Now after Trudeau, so Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister, he suddenly resigned, and the politics behind it. But here, what is happening in Canada does not affect our country. But how Canada's leadership is framing India-Canada relationship, that is important. Like if you have seen in the recent news, the killing of Nijjar, Justin Trudeau said that the blame is on India, unknown gunmen, etc., etc. You must have read in the news. But later on, he did not present any proof that India was behind killing of a Canadian citizen Nijjar. So here you can see that there's a politics involved. Jagmeet Singh, their New Democratic Party, they backed out. Then Trudeau again resigned. There's an internal conflict. Canadian economy is struggling because of inflation, high rise, immigration, etc., etc. So this you can read, but obviously not very important in terms of our examination. What is important in this news is India-Canada relationship. So relationship were very decent going on, but here you can see that because of recent incidents of Khalistani movement, etc., the bilateral relations are at the lowest point, I feel, in last 40 years. So this is important for India's perspective and how Trump will frame that policy, how it will affect India, but not exactly per se what is happening in Canadian politics. I hope you understand. Next, we have death of a journalist. So again, media, fourth pillar, very important, talking about this. So this is media related, which is generally we call the fourth pillar of our democracy. There was a recent news related to the journalist killing because he was exposing some corruption related in the projects in Chhattisgarh. So again, the news per se is not very important, but the freedom of speech, freedom of media, the transparency of the public funds, etc., etc., raise the question for governance part, for ethics part. So I feel that this is again important article. So you have to read all these four because this is the where you have to spend maximum time. Okay. Then we have ideas page. So this is another decent page what I feel Indian Express is giving. So atomic power equation. So here you can see that related to the advanced technology cooperation between Delhi and new Trump administration. Now how India and US relationship will be framed. So again, a very important because this article outlays some kind of a history and they will tell you the storyline. So you'll get more conceptual clarity between India and US because this is what we are expecting once Trump will resume his presidency for the second term, how it will frame India-US relations, how and it will frame the world geopolitics. So here you can see this is again related from Washington Post or something like that, and Vietnam War, there are certain things. So I don't think so it is important. You can easily leave. The damage Trudeau did after Canadian Prime Minister bilateral ties, I told you about in the previous page. So again, this is a decent article. You can read. You will get more insight about India and Canada. So next few pages are not very important. Again, it's like related to nations. So like this is another Sambhal like incident. Then we have Agniveer related. Then again, it is, you can say, political collegium. Not very vital for the updates perspective. Then we come to business or economy page. In some newspaper, it is called business. Here, economy. So see, whenever you will find two organization, Ministry of Finance and RBI, the news is important. So if you find something like that, you have to see. Now, once you will see, you have to see that RBI published two kinds of news. Always RBI is in news. One is policy related and another one is admin related, administration related of banks, etc. So here you can see RBI asked Credit Bureau banks to pay 100 rupees for delay in data updation. Now here the word is data updation because data protection bill and all that was in news. But for this purpose, this is like more administrative news of RBI, not the policy related. So again, you can leave this news or because it will not come as a question. Okay. Then we have Ketan Parekh. So again, this is related to SEBI. So SEBI news generally are not very important, useless, but regarding regulation of Indian stock market, it is an important news. So news don't have to read it because this is the simple storyline, full timeline that they have published, what happened with Ketan Parekh, etc., etc. But how SEBI is regulating Indian capital market conceptually is very vital, and how it is making Indian stock market transparent in terms of the Indian investor. Now here Microsoft plans to invest, so obviously this will not be the purpose of UPSC, but they are investing this much in infrastructure. It means India remains a choice for investors. So this is the news. Don't have to read, but just read the headline so that you understand that India is receiving investment. Now news related to Nvidia. Again, not very important. Exim Bank raises this much, not important. But what is bonds or what are overseas bonds? So these terms are important. Okay. News are not important, but terms are important. Okay. Now, new vehicle registration is slowest in 3 years in 2024. So these are some news for economy and business page. Okay. Then we come to the world. Now here I told you the world. If you see UPSC syllabus of GS paper 2, you will realize that the syllabus mentioned India and its bilateral relations. So if it is not related to India, then the news is not important. Okay. Now here you can see 6.8 earthquake on Richter scale, etc., etc. Now this news is not important per se because here the concept of earthquake is important. Where exactly happened, the reason, not important, the content of the news. Okay. Then South Korean court reissue arrest warrant for you, not related to India. Okay. Again, Liberal Party leaders in race to succeed Trudeau as he gets to ready to step down. So again, Canadian internal politics, not important. Korean internal politics, not important. Azerbaijan anger over air crash. So Moscow में जो चीज और ये सारी चीजें हुई हैं, nothing matters a lot. Okay. Then again, this is political news. This is Indonesia joins BRICS bloc as full member. So again, BRICS important. So this news is important. Just have to read it. Don't have to indulge into it or don't go for some kind of a research. Free Palestine state among suggestion. UAE in talks with US, Israel about provincial government for post-war Gaza. You know, Israel and Palestine issue is ongoing conflict since 1949. So the news is not very important, but the result of these talks, so you have to keep an eye on that. Okay. So keep looking, but whatever will be happen after these peace talks, it's not the first time that it is happening. It happened multiple times without any like fruitful result. So world page is not very important. Then we have a beautiful page by Indian Express known as Explained, and this explained section is very, very, very important. Okay, so this is very important page. GDP estimated. So they told the GDP estimate. Very important news to read. Earth water cycle, how climate change, again part of the syllabus, very important. HAL, ALH concerns over chopper. Now you know that chopper is a very important strategic thing for any defense mechanism for country. What happened with General Bipin Rawat, etc., etc. What happened with Iran in the past as well, related to chopper failure. So this is very important because India want indigenous defense equipments. So again, this is an important thing, important development, because India is building indigenous technology in defense and we are reducing our imports, especially in terms of defense sector. So again, very important. Why Justin Trudeau announces his resignation? Again, very important, but it is explained global. So not from the politics perspective, but you have to understand what is going on in Canada, because Canada is very like vocal about Khalistani issue. Canadian leaders, they fund, they held immigration in their country. So again, what is happening in Canada? Not internal politics. Again, I'm saying how it is affecting India's relationship. Bilateral relationship is important. So this is explained section. You will get a lot of insights, not a news. Okay. Now here, this is related to news research. So this is related to science and tech. So you can see this is SNT, and science and tech. You will find this news important related to your GS paper 3. So I hope this makes the clarity. Then we have sports. So a sports page not at all important because sports not the part of it. If you have interest, still you don't have to read because you don't have time. Okay. And this is the last sports page. So again, not important at all. So I hope you understand how to read the newspaper, how to approach it. In a separate video, I'll tell you how to make notes of it. Okay. Every Sunday we do our 3 hours UPSC masterclass workshop, which is absolutely free. If you are interested in that, the link is given in the description, the first comment, to register it for free. So make sure you register for 3 hours UPSC workshop, where we'll tell you how to qualify prelims, how to write answers, notes, newspaper, revision, etc., etc. And don't forget to subscribe IAS Origin for more videos. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.